channel and welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 4 easy, healthy, and creative ways to use cooked shredded chicken. Now, initially when I went to film this video, I was also going to include a bone broth tutorial, but I quickly realized that that would make the video over an hour long and probably nobody would want to watch a video that's that long. So I'm going to save the tutorial for a separate video, and today I will just be sharing with you the meals that I've made with my shredded chicken. Now, to get your shredded chicken, you can go about it a number of different ways. You can use your crock pot, your Instant Pot, cook the chicken up in the oven, whatever you like. What I always prefer to do is to buy a whole chicken and to cook it up in my crock pot. That is definitely going to be the most economical way to get your cooked shredded chicken. The meat from the chicken will last 3, 4, maybe even 5 meals, depending on how large your meals are. And then you will also be able to use the bones afterwards to make bone broth. So that is always my preferred method. But like I said, you can use whatever you like. And you don't have to use a whole chicken if you don't want to. You can use a mix of chicken breasts and chicken thighs, and you can cook those up in your crock pot or Instant Pot any way you like. I will be linking a couple of different cooking methods down below in the description box, and you can cook your chicken however you like, and then you can follow along with me to make the meals. Also, if you don't feel like messing around with any of that, you can get a rotisserie chicken from the grocery store, and you can simply use the meat and the bones from that. So without further ado, let's jump in and start cooking.
Okay, so the first meal we're going to be making is a gluten-free chicken pot pie. This is a favorite in our house. The first thing I'm going to start doing is to chop up my vegetables. Here I've got some onion, some carrot, and some celery. So I'm going to get my cast iron skillet nice and hot, and I'm going to heat up some butter and some garlic and then start to saute my veggies. Next, I will be adding some salt and some dried thyme. Next, I'll be sprinkling in a couple of tablespoons of almond flour and then adding in my cooked chicken. Once the flour has cooked down and most of it is dissolved, I will go ahead and add in some cream. You can use half and half, heavy cream, coconut milk, whatever you've got on hand. I'll add in some frozen peas, a little bit of Dijon mustard, and some sharp cheddar cheese that I just grated. Once everything looks melted down and nicely incorporated, we can go ahead and add in some bone broth. Then I will go ahead and season this with some salt and pepper to taste, and it looks like we are ready to make our pie crust. This pie crust recipe is super easy, it's gluten-free, and I've got it linked down in the description box down below. So basically I'm just rolling it out right now. You can use either saran wrap or parchment paper to keep it from sticking to the counter. And once I've got it rolled, I'm just going to place it on top of my veggie and chicken mixture, and we'll put some butter on it, put some cheese on it, and throw it in the oven. So then I'm just going to lift my pie crust and place it down as carefully as I can on top of my chicken and veggie mixture. Of course, it does not have to be perfect. If you make a mistake, which you'll see me do that in just a second here, you can just kind of use your fingers to kind of put it back in place. And we're gonna put some butter and some cheese on top of this, so it doesn't matter if it doesn't look absolutely perfect. So now I'm just going to be putting my toppings on top. I poured a little bit of melted butter on top. I'll do a little bit more sharp cheddar cheese, and then this will go into the oven. So next up, we've got some chicken and veggie enchiladas. So what you'll need for this recipe are, first off, some corn tortillas, some vegetables. Really whatever kind of vegetables your family likes is just fine. I have sauteed mine up a little bit just to keep them soft. I use zucchini and broccoli in mine. Of course, our shredded chicken, I've got about 2 cups of it right here. I like to use the whiter meat for a dish like this. I've got about 2 cups of beans. I did all black beans, but I have often made this recipe with a cup of black beans and a cup of refried beans, or a cup of black beans and a cup of hummus. About 3/4 of a cup here of salsa. You can make it as spicy as your family likes. About 2 cups of sharp cheddar cheese that I just grated, and then some homemade enchilada sauce. You don't have to use homemade, you can use store-bought or canned. It's about 1.5 cups that we're going to be using. So I'll get my oven preheated first, and then I will begin mixing up all of the ingredients for my enchilada filling. Once my filling is ready to go, I'm just going to oil a 9x13 baking dish. I always like to lay down a little bit of oil first just so that nothing sticks. And then I'm going to pour about half of my enchilada sauce into the bottom of the dish. What I will start doing now is just filling each of the tortillas with a little bit of filling and then rolling it up. You want to make sure that the edges are facing down so that they don't kind of pop open when they're in the oven. And then if you see what I'm doing here, I'm basically just heating up each of the corn tortillas before I try to roll it. Sometimes if you're using 100% corn tortillas, they don't have any wheat in them, which that's what we're doing. They tend to break a little bit when you roll them. So I always just like to heat them up a bit first. You could do this on the stove in your cast iron skillet, or you could simply use a microwave if you prefer. Once I've got my dish completely full of my enchiladas, I will go ahead and pour the rest of my enchilada sauce over the top. Then I will cover them with cheese and bake them. So next up, we've got our creamy chicken fajita soup. I'm going to start by chopping up some of my vegetables. I am using an onion, a carrot, and half of a red bell pepper. This dish is pretty versatile though, so you can put in whatever kind of veggies you think your family might like. I think mushrooms and celery would also be really good in here. Next, I will heat up some avocado oil, and I'm just going to throw in some garlic and get my vegetables sauteing. And once your veggies are looking soft and translucent, you can go ahead and add in 4 ounces of cream cheese and we'll get that nice and mixed up. Once the cream cheese is fully melted and incorporated in with the vegetables, I'm going to go ahead and add in some taco seasoning, some black beans, some diced tomatoes, my shredded chicken of course, and some bone broth. Then I will season this to taste, bring it up to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, and then cover it. Once the soup is finished simmering, you can go ahead and add in some half and half cream or coconut milk and a little bit of cheese. And the last dish I'll be showing you today is chicken and wild rice soup. I'm going to start by chopping up some vegetables. So I've got about a half an onion, a carrot, and 3 to 4 stalks of celery here. So I've got some butter and garlic sauteing here, and I will just go ahead and add my vegetables and get those sauteed. Next, I'll add in a pinch of sea salt, some dried thyme, and some dried oregano. Once those are stirred together, I can go ahead and add in 4 ounces of cream cheese. When that is all mixed together, I will go ahead and add in my rice blend. I am using a mixture that I put together myself. It's just wild rice, some brown rice, there's some barley in there, some black pot barley. You can basically use anything that you like, whether it's a store-bought blend or something that you've pulled together yourself. And if you don't like the taste or texture of wild rice, or you don't like how long it takes for it to cook, go ahead and just use a brown rice medley. That's just fine. Then I will add in my cooked shredded chicken. This is where I like to use the darker meat. And once that's all mixed together, I will go ahead and add in 3 to 4 cups of bone broth. So before I reduce this to a simmer, I'm just going to add in a little pinch of cayenne pepper here. This really, in my opinion, is what makes this soup so delicious. So even if your family doesn't like something spicy, just do a little bit just to bring a little bit of heat, and it will be a game changer. Then I'll bring this up to a boil, go ahead and reduce it to a simmer and cover it and let it cook. Depending on what type of rice you're using, whether you're using wild rice or brown rice, you may let it need to simmer for anywhere between 20 all the way up to 45 minutes. Then once it is finished simmering, you can go ahead and add in your dairy. This is totally optional. You don't need to add in any additional cream or cheese, but we like it creamy, so I always add a little bit of half and half and a little bit of cheese at the end. And there you have it, friends, 4 easy and healthy ways to use shredded chicken. Thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe.